With the physique of Apollo and the strength of Zeus, strongmen are the most powerful creatures in the world. With their fists, these titans prove that they can shatter not only incredible records, but also human faces.
Nearly halfway through. Oh!
And now you're about to witness the most brutal strongman fights that will leave you in shock. Mariusz Pudzianowski, also known as Dominant, is a legendary athlete, 5 times winner of the title the strongest man on the planet. After becoming the king of the brute force world, Pudzianowski decided to break not only records but also the faces of his opponents. The Pole knew of the immense strength hidden in him, and without the need for technique, he simply smashed his opponents. Get ready, because you're about to witness how Jock Mariusz Pudzianowski destroyed everyone in his path in the world of mixed martial arts. In May 2022, tattoo parlor sponsor Michal Martella was thrown at Pudzianowski's throat. The fight started with some distance, but Pudzian got bored and pounced on the bearded Martella. Martella had Pitbull written on his shorts, but he looked more like a pathetic mongrel. At one point, a pumped-up Pudzian wanted protein, so he kicked Martella in the balls. Martella recovered quickly and continued the fight, but it was for nothing as the next attack from the muscular beast knocked Martella out. After this hard knockout, Martella was surrounded by medics, unable to determine if he was blue from the blows or the tattoos.
Jeśli narożnik Michała chce wymieniać ciosy z Pudzianem, kają się w głowę, pewnie gdzieś w tej grupie też byliśmy my. Mariusz Pudzianowski ostrzegał.
Until that day, no one had anything to offer the power of Pudzianowski. Matchmakers matched him with a giant straight from the African dunes. The undefeated 350-pound fighter from Senegal was a good test of Pole's power. The African did not hesitate and recklessly went at Pudzian, apparently hoping to capitalize on his impressive size. But Pudzianowski didn't care who was in front of him, and with his first hit, he turned off the light in the eyes of the pompous African. Another first-round finish for Mr. Pudzianowski. On May 23, 2015, a member of the Great Gracie clan, Rollas Gracie, was sent to be eaten by Pudzianowski. Rolls started the fight by avoiding the powerful Mariusz, something anyone would likely do when facing this monster. It was a mistake to punch a low kick to a man who never missed a leg day. After that stroking, Pudzianowski, like a pudge, took Gracie's soul with his hook. Brutally finishing his opponent, Dominant, whose back is being used as a billboard, celebrated his victory. In late 2009, the Mountain of Muscle faced off against bald compatriot Marcin Nyman. Before the start of the fight, Mariusz demonstrated what he was going to do to his opponent by ripping his t-shirt off. From the very beginning of the fight, Monster took the center of the ring in a masterly manner, after which he delivered a series of powerful low kicks. Pudzianowski didn't care about the technique of his punches. He bulldozed Nyman to the ground. Watching the rain of powerful punches on Nyman, the referee pounced on Pudzianowski's arm to save Marcin's health, as he was the size of a monster's arm and was able to get a full grip on it. In the summer of 2021, our Polish Hulk fought another compatriot, Łukasz Shtyrkov. Pudzianowski came out with a Beat diet ad on his chest. Apparently Beats were genetically modified since he achieved such shapes and such power. In the first round, the Beat giant tested Shtyrkov's toughness with a low kick, but got a decent response in the face. A second attempted low kick elicited only a mocking smile from Shtyrkov. Shtyrkov responded by starting to show off his arsenal of high kicks and arrogantly underestimating the jock. After another kick, Pudzianowski caught Shtyrkov's leg and moved the showboater to the floor, feeding him with his steroid elbows. In the second round, after a failed back fist, Shtyrkov turned into a mat of the powerful Pudzian. Going into the third round after such a beating, the disrespectful Shtyrkov didn't feel like shaking his offender's hand. For this behavior, Pudzianowski gave the sinner a rite of crucifixion and destroyed the scoundrel. After outpointing everyone they put across, Pudzianowski faced Yun. The Bosnian knockout artist was on a streak of 3 knockouts in a row and was considered worthy opposition to the punching power of Pudzianowski.
In our main event tonight, Yun, Mariusz Pudzianowski.
From the very beginning, Pudzian decided not to test his fate with the young bull and put Yun on the floor. And until the end of the round, he tried to crush the Bosnian's face with his hammer fists. In the second round, another takedown attempt nearly brought Pudzian to defeat.
And gets taken down. But this time,
Taking the mount, Yun held onto the cage and started the hail of punches. But the valiant referee saw this lawlessness and stopped this behavior.
and pounds. And that's the
But by that time, Pudzianowski was already tired, and the Bosnian, having taken the advantage, technically started slaughtering the strongman,
But Pudzianowski is here like it's going out of...
not forgetting to block the attempts of the takedown.
Yun just has to be a bit more...
Urko played around with the takedown and completely lost his guard, and granted Pudzianowski the perfect moment to move into the fight to the ground.
Gets the double leg.
This time, Dominant was confidently positioned, and the Polish pounders did their job, breaking all the bones in Yun's face.
The hips keep punching. Referee giving a warning here. This looks close. Well, that's it. Pudzianowski.
A legend in the martial arts world, Eric Ash, better known as Butterbean, is a seasoned fighter with fights in many different organizations, even MMA. Thus, Legend came out against the strongest man on the planet. Butterbean started the first few seconds of the fight by reminding the strongman of his striking prowess. But Pudzianowski didn't go into deep water with the shark. Instead, he pulled the ocean terror to shore, where the formidable Butterbean turned out to be a helpless blobfish. Thunderbolts began to straighten the shape of Butterbean's skull until the referee intervened. Matchmakers, in a quest to find an equal to the strongest man in the world, came across Bob Sapp. Sapp, with his massive size fueled by finest steroids, seemed a worthy rival to the superhuman strength of Pudzianowski. Pudzianowski looked like he was going into the fight with the sole thought of devouring this beast. The fight began, and Pudzian, like a mad dog, starting beating Sapp with unreal aggression. Pudzian then did him dirty by using his inhuman strength to easily cut the ground from under Sapp's feet. Seating on top of him, he proceeded to engage in the traditional Soviet way of child education. Although Sapp offered no resistance, Pudzianowski went into beast mode, becoming uncontrollable. The referee had to use extreme force to stop Pudzianowski from killing Sapp on the spot.
Very good. Against also lost. Big right hand.
The real Russian Hulk.
Хорошо попадает. И это тяжело.
Elite boxing skills, god-tier grappling, and unstoppable wrestling. There's nothing this fighter can't do in the ring.
От Сильвы. О, хороший Хороший удар.
Even Shtyrkov is a top-secret creation of Russian scientists, designed for one purpose: to destroy anyone in his path.
Категории бойцы, насколько
Опа, точное попадание!
Ну, нужно работать.
Buckle up, because this beast takes down everything and everyone.
It's Ivan Shtyrkov!
As a true Russian Hulk, even Shtyrkov couldn't care less who stands in front of him.
Иван шансов не оставил, 3,5 минуты.
Even if it's the towering two-time European champion, Kadis Ibragimov. Ibragimov is no ordinary challenger. He's a fearsome giant, a young monster determined to dethrone the apex predator of the fight game.
в зале, и если он чемпионат Европы и мира, и вот сразу.
Какая мощь. Адис Ибрагимов за 100 килограммов.
With 4 fights in the world's premier organization, UFC, under his belt, he was coming in with both experience and a point to prove. The audience buzzed with anticipation, ready to witness a clash of titans and find out who would emerge victorious.
Да. Потому что, все были уверены.
The bell rang, and the bout began, an unforgettable showdown destined to go down in Russian combat sports history.
Двигается на ногах сейчас на старте второго раунда Хадис. Хорошо
The
позалетал.
two heavyweights exchanged devastating blows, like silverback gorillas fighting over dominance.
Хадис сам старается зайти с двойкой, небольшой размен.
But soon, the young monster channeled all his power into his fists and seized the momentum.
Пока немножко бесцельно эту ногу подхватывает.
Наносить удары по корпусу.
Все правильно, нельзя в этом партере
Под
не
ним.
Подходит, Ибрагимов попадает.
Shtyrkov initially tried to take down Ibragimov with grappling, but to the colossal giant, even was nothing more than a pesky mosquito.
Фиксированные ноги Ивана убрать со своих бедер, но не смог. И будет сейчас
Ух
таскать.
ты!
А смотри, не сработало. Shtyrkov все еще пока.
Then, out of the corner of his eye, the Russian Hulk spotted his very own Black Widow in the crowd, cheering for him with all her heart. Determined not to disappoint her, even dug deep, gathering his strength and setting out to tame the beast. Like a true giant slayer, he began to terrorize and batter Ibragimov as if the towering fighter were a helpless mass of flesh.
На экран для того, чтобы понять, сколько времени осталось. Хороший удар от Shtyrkova справа.
Сразу
И
смотри,
тут
гематома.
еще атака от Shtyrkova.
Не
Ибрагимов потихонечку так поджимает сетки. Да, правила профессионального бокса.
дуэт с Дмитрием
Ой,
In the
снова.
third round, seizing on a mistake, even turned the tide. He attacked relentlessly, turning the giant's head into mush.
Забирается за спину Иван Shtyrkov, начинает наносить удары.
Shtyrkov не дает встать Хадису. И молоточки в голову пошли.
For an entire round, Shtyrkov subjected his opponent to hellish punishment, sending him straight to purgatory.
Наносятся удары.
Просто
Удар за
забивает.
ударом. И это все. Остановка.
Раунда победу техническим нокаутом одержал Иван Shtyrkov!
On September 9th, 2016, even Shtyrkov was served a special dish. Former UFC champion Rico Rodriguez. And at the sunset of his career, Rico Rodriguez wanted to end his path as warrior in a beautiful way. So he challenged the strongest fighter of Russia. But from the first clash, it was clear that the Hulk's fists were not part of Rico's retirement plan. One thunderous punch to the jaw sent Rodriguez scrambling into a desperate clinch, hoping to survive.
Родригес. Вы слышите, угловых Ивана Shtyrkova провести.
It didn't matter. Ivan swiftly launched Rico's skull over the ropes like a champagne cork.
Опа! Выбивает за канаты сейчас. Рико Родригес.
Panicking, Rodriguez resorted to desperate hugs, attempting to drag the Russian beast to the ground. Ivan, however, hammered a few nails into Rico's head with his sledgehammers, forcing the veteran to crawl out of the ring like a frightened puppy.
Родригеса не проходит. И снова оказывается за канатом.
Tired of the chase, Shtyrkov delivered a brutal uppercut, correcting what he called a design flaw in Rico's brain. Then, with ruthless efficiency, he began counting his opponent's teeth. Once again, Rico fled behind the ropes.
Спасают от разгрома Рико Родригеса, хотя
The bloodthirsty referee, determined to see justice served, practically dragged the battered warrior back into the ring so the Russian Hulk could finish what he started, sending the veteran into retirement, one devastating blow at a time.
дает напомнится американцу. Забирается в маунт Иван. Спина выпрямлена. все.
His next opponent was the terror of champions, Antonio Bigfoot Silva, a man with inhuman strength and iron fists. This battle promised to shatter the myth of the Russian Hulk's invincibility.
И у нас первый раунд.
The bout started with even dominating, snapping Bigfoot's jaw like sunflower seeds. Silva seemed to dare Shtyrkov, almost inviting him to strike harder, as if he was seeking his own destruction.
Проход в ноги от Ивана. Ищет момента. Не сказаться те удары он. Мы видим, он тяжелым покачивается на ногах. Опасный размен. Попадает снова Иван Shtyrkov. Приглашает на себя Антонио Сильва. Показывает всем.
But Silva wasn't about to be a punching bag. Like Thanos, he shook the Russian Hulk, unleashing a storm of strikes, determined to finish the fight.
Ох, какой опасный удар сейчас попадает Антонио Сильва. Опасно начинает добивать сверху Антонио Сильва.
However, even, like a phoenix rising from the ashes, regained control. He took the initiative, slammed the giant to the ground, and unleashed a barrage of punches so ferocious that it seemed the ring itself might collapse.
Но продолжает наносить разбивающие удары Иван Shtyrkov. Именно это ему нужно. Нужны менять углы удара.
Having drained every ounce of Silva's stamina, the Russian Hulk struck with brutal fury, sending Bigfoot's ass straight out of the ring.
Чтобы попытаться подняться, да, и удается ему это сделать. От Сильвы. О, хороший удар. Пропускает. Показывает он, что все в порядке.
Imagining Silva's head as a piñata, even unleashed a relentless storm of blows, crushing all dreams of victory and leaving Silva with more than just bruises. He was facing the wrath of a true destroyer. This was Evan's first bloody massacre, and by unanimous decision, the Russian Hulk emerged victorious, cementing his legacy as a force of nature in the world of combat sports. By 2018, Shtyrkov remained undefeated and had built a fearsome reputation, leaving his opponents trembling at the thought of facing the Russian monster. But on the horizon appeared a true monster hunter, Brazilian killer Thiago Silva. Silva was known for his devastating right, which had destroyed many elite fighters. Confident in his abilities, he was already picturing another head to add to his collection. However, as soon as the fight began, Shtyrkov turned the tables, making the hunter his prey.
Бой идет вперед. И это правильно по отношению к его.
Silva had hoped to throw his signature right, but the Russian Hulk gave him no chance. Shtyrkov quickly brought the fight to the canvas, neutralizing Silva's main weapon.
Здесь как раз-таки кроется секрет хороших пацанов.
Ой, класс! Вот это классный прием. Класс! Своевременно, все по месту.
He proved once again who the true killer was and continued to instill fear in the entire fighting world. In 2021, Shtyrkov's opponent was Artur Astrakhanov. Astrakhanov had never been knocked out in his entire career, making him a true challenge for Ivan.
Set and ready. Artur Astrakhanov in
The bell rang, and immediately, Shtyrkov, like an executioner, delivered a powerful blow to Artur's head, already sensing victory.
Shtyrkov trying to survive.
However, Astrakhanov's incredible resilience, which had kept him standing throughout his career, was no fluke. His toughness could even rival Captain America's.
To his feet, unreal.
That was so lovely.
And again, fainting with that take.
Inspired by his own durability, Artur charged back into the fight, but the Hulk immediately sent him crashing to the canvas, securing a devastating knockout and forcing the man who had never been knocked out to experience his first ever dreams in the ring.
Very good.
Again, also
Big right hand.
That's going to be it.
Heavy shot. That is it. Ivan Shtyrkov with the finish against Artur Astrakhanov.
Thus, even Shtyrkov knocked out one of Russia's toughest fighters and added yet another big name to his undefeated record.
Иван, уральский Халк, Shtyrkov!
Easily crushing one opponent after another, the Russian Hulk was thirsting for a real challenge, and his attention turned to the new prey, Olympic judo champion Satoshi Ishii. From the start of the fight, the Japanese greeted the Russian with a couple of hot tempura rolls, and then, like an old friend, he embraced Ivan tightly, hoping to wear him down. But Ivan turned those embraces into a torture machine. His knees, like blacksmith hammers, methodically pounded into Ishii's body, turning him into a chop.
Не старается пока.
Смотри, что и в стойке он молодец.
И посмотрите, как плотно колени не начинают. О, хороший снова удар коленом по туловищу.
The ring became a battlefield where both fighters exchanged blows like bullets in a wild shootout.
Неоспоримым, на мой взгляд.
Ох, хороший
Хороший японца пока. Хороший
лоу-кик попадает Иван.
Высокий темп в поединке. Хорошо попадает Иван сейчас.
Despite his Olympic background, Ishii couldn't manage to bring the Russian Hulk down, and even decided to show him a masterclass by delivering an ippon. In this merciless brawl, the Russian Hulk sent the descendant of samurais back to his ancestors.
Хорошо попадает.
И это тяжелое попадание.
Я бы уже остановил нафиг. Извините за эмоции.
И это досрочная победа от Ивана Shtyrkova.
Какой молодец!
To satisfy the growing appetite of the Russian Hulk, the league began throwing even bigger and more dangerous opponents his way, one of whom was Philip de Vries, the next on the execution list. The fighters, like a young couple nervously getting to know each other, started the bout.
Стойки, слоу киков.
However, despite the size difference, the Russian Hulk threw a devastating punch to Philip's jaw, sending the Englishman flying across the ring. Before he could even land, Philip was bombarded by a relentless barrage of strikes.
Бойцы насколько...
Точное попадание!
Ну, нужно работать Ивану. Добивай!
Even chased the Englishman around the ring, giving him no time to breathe, as though Philip had stolen his last shot of vodka. Switching up the pace and riding the English stallion, the Russian warrior scalped the mustached man alive and finished the fight.
Да, в тяжелом состоянии находится английский боец.
Shtyrkov практически сел. Все.
И остановка. Досрочная победа в первом раунде.
The next strongman we're about to introduce also decided to swap his 1,000-pound barbell for a pair of boxing gloves, and his name is Thor Bjornsson.
Nearly halfway through. Oh! Big punch!
Get ready to watch literally the toughest fights in the world of boxing. Here we go. Strongman Eddie Hall is Thor's sworn rival, who has challenged him over and over again for the title of the strongest man in the world. Unable to decide who is the strongest powerlifter, they decided to take their dispute to the boxing ring. It wasn't clear how the ring would even hold these giants. At the press conference, with Hall's tough appearance, he decided to mock Bjorns like an ill-mannered child.
He was stood there going, come on then, pussy. You fake Look at you scared little boy. You scared little boy. You're a child.
The day of the fight came, and as soon as the referee gave the command to fight, all the spectators instantly witnessed a fierce battle.
Here we go, the first round.
It seemed as if the Greek gods came down from heaven and decided to tear each other to shreds in the ring.
Eddie's coming around every time. Settle down now. Oh, big punch there from Eddie.
And a solid jab there as well. Oh, good shot. Oh, good shot there from a boxing perspective. Technique.
Then Eddie Hall sent Thor to Valhalla with a crushing blow.
He felt that.
Oh!
Well, the first from him, I think, and in that round there, because he's closing the feet, he's threatening with the front foot, he's not allowing Thor.
But Thor, not wanting to go to the eternities, activated his Mjolnir gloves and began to destroy his opponent.
Nearly halfway through. Oh! Big
on Thor, but the early rounds here from Eddie Hall I thought were really good. He kept these gaps.
Crowd trying to pick Eddie up.
Oh, good shot.
Really strong.
That's a cracking left hand there from Thor. Oh, good shot. Again.
Thor's trying to load that. Big punch up a little more now.
It's gotta be
It's a big arm.
Comes quite quickly, and I'm impressed with that. But you got to get the slide in so effortlessly. Easier than I can say the word.
Oh, big shot there.
That left hand from Thor. Look at that. The back of the head, which by the way is illegal.
In the end, Bjornsson put an end to this dispute with his victory, having confirmed his title of the strongest. The next one who decided to test the strength of Bjornsson's jaw was English boxer Simon Vallely. Despite his small size, Vallely was a professional boxer with 20 fights under his belt.
He was going to get the stoppage against Kalinowski. I think he was going to have to work his body.
Possessing knockout power, in the fight against Bjornsson, Simon apparently wanted to show the difference between a real boxer and a circus strongman. The bell rang, and the boxing festival began. But Vallely apparently lost all respect along with his hair as he began to mock Bjornsson in public.
17 wins. He punches harder than his record. Knows exactly what he's trying to set up. But credit to Bjornsson.
But Vallely knows that, and he's just a little bit too cutesy, just fainting for Bjornsson. Another box tick for him. A slightly wider berth in terms of getting caught and maybe hurt, as he would in 10 ounce gloves. But Vallely getting. He did say, I really want to have my
left hook.
The modest big man did not tolerate such insolent behavior and drew new bruises and abrasions on Vallely's body instead of new tattoos.
Been very impressed with his patience though, Chris.
Yeah, and a change attack there from Simon Vallely. He just went tight guard, as if to say, let's have a little trade in confidence. And Bjornsson will be no doubt happy too. But he got Stephen Ward in the Icelandic. The exhibition protocols, Darren, because we know what kind of guy he has been in the past. Hurt there, the Icelander.
He was. It was a good counter left hook. In close.
Thus, Hafthor defeated the cocky man soundly, demonstrating what happens when you piss off strongmen. Another professional boxer who dared to go up against this giant was Stephen Ward. However, it was seen that even after eating the opponent, our hero could not provide his body with enough protein.
It is Hafthor against Ward.
In the fight, Stephen Ward had nothing but to dodge Bjornsson's cannon blows, covering kilometers in the pedometer.
More agile than I initially thought.
Yes, lots of lateral movement.
In the next fight to tone those down a little bit.
Stephen put all his strength into a punch that would have knocked out any other heavyweight, but Bjornsson's jaw was unyielding.
Well, just feinting a big man into the corner. It's good work. That's to be expected here because Ward is setting a reasonably good pace and he's quick, he's on the move, he's forced Thor to...
But Thor was not going to sit idly by and he changed everything in an instant, awakening his Viking spirit and launched a furious attack.
It's coming from Thor, of course, that's dangerous, but still from Stephen as well.
That's what he knew he had to do. He'll be becoming a little bit more relaxed as the fight goes on.
But you have to give credit to Ward, who was not afraid to get into a close fight with this giant. The audience had the impression that the judges watched the fight with their eyes closed because at the end of the 3-round duel, Bjornsson record was drawn an unfair draw. But this did not upset Thor B, and he continued his march in the world of boxing, waiting for his next opponent, which was Devin Larratt. Devin Larratt is a real devil of arm wrestling, whose palm grip was like Hulk's unbreakable power. The strongest in arm wrestling had already defeated Thor in his element. And apparently Lorath decided not to stop there, and not to miss the opportunity to become the strongest in the ring.
The mountain versus no limits. Let's go.
In this fight, Thor Bjornsson was not like himself because he resembled a wild beast on the hunt.
Yep, smart. Yeah, very nice.
And the strongest arm wrestler realized his worthlessness in the ring, and Bjornsson showed him who he was without an arm wrestling table. After a standing knockdown, he didn't want to continue the fight, but he had to make the money. The one-sided beating continued, so the referee had to stop the fight to save Lorath from serious injuries.
Knock me out in the first minute or two. But if I can take him a little...
See what he's got.
Yeah, exactly. You know, test his win.
I don't think Devin's got much in him. You can hear him screaming.
Yeah.
By TKO, Hafthor, their mountain!
The next jock even struck fear into Mike Tyson himself.
Hey, listen up here. They may call you Kid Dynamite. You mess with me, I'll put your fuse out. Hey, all Sunny in blood, punk. Where you at?
This fighter turned the face of the legendary Ernesto Husted into a medium rare steak. Bob Sapp is a real hurricane who went through the world of martial arts, crushing everyone who stood in his way. And in addition to the ring, he often starred on the sets of Hollywood movies. Many people know him as the most worthless fighter, but in his prime years, he tore to shreds everyone who entered the ring with him. And today, we're going to show you some of his most ferocious knockouts. Bob Sapp began his ascent to the peak of kickboxing in 2002, taking the self-speaking nickname, The Beast. And in one of his first fights, he faced Mr. Perfect. The Dutch legend, Ernesto Hust, used to eat newcomers like Sapp for breakfast, and if Bob was the beast in this ring, Hust was going to act as a tamer. From the start of the fight, the fierce American pounced on his opponent like a berserker. But Hust decided to use his years-honed skills, and in a real meat grinder started in the ring. And after Ernesto decided to show the American a couple of chopping low kicks and began to treat him like a soccer ball. The former American football player got angry, and he decided to beat up the Dutchman. Angry American decided not to lower the degree, and immediately after the break continued the fight, turning Ernesto's face into Dutch cheese. A year after his victory over legendary Hust, Sapp entered the ring like a bull in a corrida, ready to take on the horns of anyone who dared to challenge him. And his next fight was another matador hoping to tame Bob. His compatriot Kimo Leopoldo was fully fired up for the fight. From the first seconds of the fight, it might have seemed like a new episode of Tom and Jerry, because Kimo started running from Bob all over the ring, but Leopoldo wasn't agile enough to dodge Sapp's lightning-fast punches. Despite this, Kimo was able to shake the unbreakable Titan. After that, he was sure to take advantage of the situation and started pounding the big guy. However, to hunt such a carcass, more energy was needed, and Kimo didn't have enough gas tank capacity for that. But he was lucky when the bell rang, and he had time to regain his strength. Kimo continued the fight, but Bob was fed up with it. And skillful Sapp, like a real chef, with a few sharp blows stunned his opponent, who fell to the floor like a piece of meat. The Iron Mike Tyson himself was watching the fight from the audience. Sapp decided to take advantage of the presence of such a legendary guest and decided to challenge him right over there. Thus, Bob put on a show both during and after the fight. Over the following year, Sapp smashed all of his opponents. He was like a formidable volcano ready to erupt. His punches came like an avalanche, and no one could resist the onslaught. Sapp became a true monster of the ring. His presence was scary, as if a wild beast had actually entered the ring. The next brazen man to challenge Bob was Akabono, an overweight samurai from the land of the rising sun. Apparently, this fight was not supposed to be for the championship belt, but for a bucket of KFC. From the very beginning, Puffy decided to smash Sapp's internal organs, but the beast withstood the onslaught of this cholesterol mutant. And then the Japanese showed why his homeland is constantly experiencing earthquakes. Bob made it clear to Akabono that he'd better go fight against the obesity. The ruthless American decided to finish this fight with a final touch. His punch was like a brushstroke to complete the picture. Each consecutive entry into the ring was like the beginning of a storm. Every spectator froze in anticipation of a beating, while the opponents realized that a storm of powerful punches and unpredictable maneuvers awaited them. The next upstart was from the land of the cold and fierce bears, Alan Karayev. From the first seconds of the fight, Alan showed Bob an arsenal of high-level punches and techniques for which Khabib Nurmagomedov would become famous in the future. But the deadly American had lit a fire in his eyes. Not a second passed as the naive Russian was already between hammer and anvil. And then Alan missed the fatal outburst of anger and instantly went to the underworld. While Bob was ass-whooping his opponent, Alan had flashbacks of his brutal Soviet upbringing. Bob was like Hulk, who had just stepped off the pages of a comic book straight into the ring. Sapp's energy and passion for fighting resembled ancient gladiators fighting for glory in the arena. The next point on the kickboxing map was the lively streets of Lagos and the sunny beaches of Nigeria, where Bobby Ologun was waiting for him. Before the fight, Ologun apparently had seen the movie Catch Me If You Can and was running away from Sapp in the same way. Dennis Rodman's twin brother decided to continue showing his athletic skills, but the American still caught up with him. Sapp pinned his opponent to the floor and began to hammer his head into the ring like a nail. The obnoxious American resembled a Nemean lion tearing his prey to shreds, but the referee decided to stop the predator. The opponents began to realize that each of Bob's blows in the ring could be the last chord in this exciting symphony of power. But something went wrong, and at some point the glossy record of the murderous American lost its luster. There were so many rumors that Sapp started selling and staging his fights, but apparently there were some people who believed in their own strength, or they didn't have the money to buy a win. And so an opponent came up against him who was to be a boost from the bottom at which Bob was. It was an aged and small fighter that the American was supposed to make a punching bag out of. But in the fight, it turned out to be the opposite. The giant fell to the floor more often than Biden. The old man had no problem humiliating the giant in front of the audience. Friends, in this video, you've seen what happens when the strongest men on earth decide to put on boxing gloves and wreck people in the ring.
Oh! Already halfway through. Oh! Big shot there!
This was Boxing Game. See you soon.